You're going to want to watch this to the end if you keep getting disheartened because you keep failing. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. If you want to achieve something absolutely incredible this year, you're going to have to fail your way to it. Failing at something does not make you a failure. You're only a failure when you stop. And if you stop before you've reached your goal, then you're a quitter. And winners never quit. And the quitters can never win. Now, there's a great book that I want to introduce you to called U Squared. It's by Price Pritchard. It's a very small book, but it's an absolutely fantastic book. And it's all about taking quantum leaps. Now, what is a quantum leap? Well, most business owners, most people, they believe in gradual progress. I always tell people that reach out to me and want to work with me, if you're wanting gradual progress, I'm not the right mentor for you because I don't believe in gradual progress. Now, a quantum leap is when you turn your yearly income into a monthly income. Now, in U Squared, there's a great chapter called Seek Failure. And I really want you to pay attention to this. It says quantum leaps demand a willingness to make mistakes. I mean, do you know how many mistakes I make every day? I always joke that I win so much because I lose so much. And I'm not afraid to fail. Now, Price goes on to say you cannot hold up in the safe zone of behavior where you have been beaten the odds of failing. An unwillingness to encounter defeat or run into problems outlaws quantum leaps. Unless you allow yourself to make mistakes, to fail, you will never have the opportunity to test the limits of what you are truly capable of accomplishing. I want you to ask yourself that. Are you failing your way to your goal? Or are you in the safety zone? Or are you waiting for the perfect time to act? Now he goes on to say, you must realize that if you're experiencing no difficulties, problems, or pain, you probably aim too low. You've leveled off in your growth and achievement, and you're probably far from reaching your limits. He says you deliberately destabilize yourself when you break out of the habit patterns that represent the status quo. You create some inner chaos for yourself, so be prepared for the possibility of confusion, anxiety, and failure. Like when you're going after a goal that is so huge, you're not going to have a plan. I mean, I always say if you've got a plan, it's the wrong goal. You've got to personally draw the map as you go. Now, things on the way to your goal might get worse. Now, look what Price says about that. He says, so often in life, it seems things first get worse on the way towards getting better. So be prepared for that sort of development. Problems belong in the process. They are a part of the equation that produces a quantum leap. He goes on to say they are not proof that your ambitions are futile or that you should give up. Now, you remember when I said failing at something does not make you a failure. You're only a failure when you quit. I love this part. He says, someone once said that everything looks like a failure in the middle. He said, you can't bake a cake without getting the kitchen messy. Halfway through surgery, it looks like there's been a murder in the operating room. If you send a rocket towards the moon, about 90% of the time it's off course. It fails its way to the moon by continually making mistakes and correcting them. Now you have really got to start getting out of your comfort zone. You've got to break out of your habitual way of doing things, your habitual way of thinking, and try something new. Because if you keep doing more of the same, you're going to keep producing more of the same. Now he says it's easy to lose faith because other people may withdraw their support and be critical of your efforts. Like when I've told people my goals in the past, they've not supported me, some people. They thought I was nuts. But what they're doing is they're projecting their belief system onto me. Just because they don't believe it doesn't mean that I don't believe it. I mean, when I told people I am going to turn my yearly income into a monthly income, Some of them didn't stick around me. Some of them thought I was crazy. But I know if I can see something in my mind, I can hold it in my hands. And so can you. But if you're going to do that, you're going to have to embrace failure. Now it says this is a crucial point in the process. Don't give up. Failure belongs here. It's a sign of progress. It says the stress will seduce you towards retreating to the safety zone. But just remember this, failure does not mean that you're defeated. Actually, the struggle gives you strength. It's like tempering the steel or the soreness involved in developing a muscle. If you go to the gym, then you know that you've got to break down the muscle so the muscle becomes stronger. So if you're in sales, you know that you've got to handle objections. You're going to get no over and over again. And you've got to still go on to that next call with as much enthusiasm. You know, I believe it was Winston Churchill that said success is going from loss to loss without losing enthusiasm. Now he says go looking for failure and then use it. Don't interpret problems or breakdowns as proof that you should quit, but instead take them as evidence of your growth and improvement. Failure is a resource. It helps you find the edge of your capacities. I mean, if you haven't got this book, your library's not full. Now, the action step for today, I want you to go out and do something really uncomfortable today. I mean, if you've got a business and you haven't got an online presence, I want you to go and make a post. Now, that's going to be uncomfortable and you might mess it up, but that's good because nothing great gets accomplished without failure and staying in the safety of your comfort zone. Step out today, do something uncomfortable, and embrace failure. I mean, I love failing. It helps me see what can I do better. How can I improve? How can I do more? How can I be a better service? You've got to fall in love with failing because when you set a huge goal and you go after a quantum leap, regardless of who you are going to fail. But I want you to remember that that's a good sign. That means that you're progressing. I hope this helped. I'm Joel McLeod, and you have an amazing day.